Go love your own enemies. Don't be loving mine. My enemies are the theocratic fascists. I don't love them. I want to destroy them.
Child made in the image of God. Oh no, you're not. You're a faggot. And you can't join your church and you can't go to heaven. This is disgraceful. It's inhuman.
Apparently it takes a lot of courage to speak out against Islam, to have a contradictory opinion, or to criticize this cult for the harms that it commits against innocent human beings. I have a lot of admiration for Wafa Sultan. When I think of that, she came from Syria and she lived for 30 years of her life under the thumb of Sharia law, that she could still rise above all the conditioning, all the being programmed to think that she's inferior because she's a woman and has a deficiency in intellect because she's a woman. That she can rise above that kind of programming that she's probably had since infancy and stand proud and be an example to other Muslim women the way she is. Like, in my opinion, a beacon of hope. That, you know, maybe women aren't just fit to be the broodmares of men and required to have sex whenever their husband demands them to. Just the things that I've read about Islam. Woman must keep herself clean just so she's ready anytime her husband wants her. It's just so degrading. Like, that's all a woman's value is based on. That's the kind of background that Wafa Sultan has risen from. That kind of programming. And I admire this woman. I think she's an atheist. She's an apostate. She is a great example of why Islam wants to kill apostates, because they're dangerous to other Muslims, because they might make other Muslims question. So, hey, you know, they should be killed. Apostates are dangerous to Islam. People who speak out against Islam are dangerous. The truth would not feel threatened. The truth would not be insecure. The truth would not have to kill to preserve itself. The fact that Islam does these things is proof that Islam is not true, no more than Christianity is true. It's insecure. It fears anybody who speaks anything else but what it wants them to. It fears. It is cowardly. And it wants to silence anybody who speaks against it, or kill them, or imprison them. This is not truth. The truth would have no fear. Anyway, I wanted to put together a video of clips of Wafa Sultan. She has a lot of really amazing things to say. She's a very amazingly strong and courageous woman. And here are the clips that I've put together of some of the things she has to say about Islam.
To say every Muslim is a threat, that's not fair. My mother is a Muslim and she's still practicing Islam. She's the most peaceful woman on earth, but she's illiterate. She has never read the Quran or the life of Muhammad. She practiced Islam the way she heard her mother and her grandmother talking about Islam. So that's what I mean. I cannot consider my mom as a threat, but she doesn't know much about Islam. I'm worried about Muslims who know the exact Muslim Islamic message and get stick to it. That's what it worries me. And I'm sure there are some of them who do that.
What happened to you that you didn't follow your mother's footsteps?
I have had very unique circumstances, you know, and when people ask me why we don't hear more Muslim women like you express themselves in the same way, I believe you have to have special or unique character in order to be able to go against your own religion, against your own culture. It is not easy. It has been very draining. You know, after, you know, I said whatever I said about Islam, my life will never be the same. So I understand why Muslim women don't do it more often, because it's very draining. And as I said, you have to be equipped with special power, special strength to do that. And I am.
But there were also circumstances in your life that make you see really, like what? What was the pivotal event in your life?
You know, I am a medical doctor. It helped me to evaluate my teachings under my scientific microscope. I was born and raised as a Muslim and lived for 30 years of my life under Islamic shari'a. Then I moved to a free country. I felt, you know, I was protected by the law and I was free enough to express my life. Plus, my husband plays a role in shaping, you know, helping me actually to shape my thoughts about Islam.
I've heard you tell the story of your niece who was married to...
many experiences, you know, many experiences. And it took me a book called The God Who Hates to answer your question, because it didn't happen overnight. There were many turning points of my life, and the story of my niece was one of it. But I couldn't realize the reason behind my niece's tragedy until I went and I lived in a free society.
And what did you then realize about Islam that is so bad?
Because I give you one example. My niece was forced to marry her cousin. When she was 11, he was over 40. He was very abusive man, and she didn't have the right to ask for divorce. Her father was not able to help her many times. She escaped from her husband's house to her father's, begging her dad to allow her to stay with her family, and he would say, you know, it's shame for a Muslim woman to leave her husband's house without his permission. Go back, I will talk to him, I promise he will be better. Eventually, she committed suicide, leaving 4 children behind. Her marriage was valid under Islamic Sharia. And that's where I started question myself. What kind of religious law that allows a man over 40 to marry a child at the age of 11? When I found out, even I knew that before, but I wasn't able to distinguish between, I was brainwashed to the point I wasn't able to distinguish between right and wrong. I knew that Muhammad married his second wife, Aisha, when she was 9. And some even texts say she was 6. He was over 50. And I didn't realize when I was living under Islamic Sharia that That's not acceptable. So living in the United States has helped me to open my mind, to open my eyes, and I started to question myself. What kind of prophet, when he married a very young girl, 9 years old, and he was her grandfather's age? So I started from there. And eventually, I have become who I am today.
عندما وضعت القرآن والأحاديث والكتب الإسلامية تحت عدسة مجهري، توصلت إلى قناعة مطلقة: لا يمكن أن يقرأ إنسان السيرة النبوية لمحمد ويؤمن بها ويخرج إلى الحياة إنسانا سليما معافى نفسيا وعقليا. أنت تذكر الطريقة التي قتل بها السيدة عصماء بنت مروان عندما قطع أتباعه جسدها إربا وهي ترضع طفلها، والمشكلة عادوا إليه يكبرون، فقال: لا يتناطحوا بها عنزان. أنت تعرف أن الماعز تتناطح لأتفه الأسباب، ولكن عند محمد قتل امرأة مرضعة سبب أتفه من أن يتناطح به عنزان. هل هذا نبي من عند الله؟ يدفعون الثمن باهظا للطريقة التي يعاملون بها المرأة. يكفي أن يعتبر الإسلام المرأة ناقصة عقل حتى تخرج إلى الحياة ناقصة عقل، لأن الإنسان ناتج ما يؤمن به. منذ طفولتنا أقنعونا بأن المرأة ناقصة عقل، فنشأنا ونحن نؤمن بتلك الفكرة، تأثرنا بها. حتى الآن رغم كل العلوم التي حصلت عليها ورغم الحرية التي أستمتع بها، ما زلت في محاولة لتنظيف اللاوعي عندي، بالتأكيد كامرأة ولدت وتربت مسلمة.
Ladies and gentlemen, I always feel a need to make fun of myself, to laugh at myself in order to cover up, to repress the sadness that deeply implanted in my heart, especially when it comes to speak about women in Islam. Now I am free, but I cannot forget my niece. She was forced to marry her cousin when she was 10. He was over 40. Her marriage was valid and legalized under the Islamic Sharia because Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, married his second wife when she was 6. He was over 50. I always remember my niece coming back to her father's house, begging her not to send her back to her husband. He would say, in Islam, it is shame for a woman to leave her husband's house. God will reward you for obeying him. At the age of 25, my niece committed suicide by setting herself on fire. She was burned to death, leaving 4 children behind her. In 2002, the Saudi religious police stopped schoolgirls from leaving a blazing building because they weren't wearing the correct Islamic dress. There were about 800 female students in the school building when this tragedy took place, and at least 15 girls were killed, according to Saudi newspaper, which I don't believe. I believe the number was much higher.
because of that, and because of many, many human tragedies that I had witnessed in the first 3 decades of my life, I have decided to fight Islam. Please pay attention to my statement. To fight Islam, not the political Islam, not the militant Islam, not the radical Islam, not the Wahhabi Islam, but Islam itself. I truly believe that the West has invented these terms for the sake of being politically correct. Growing up in Syria, I have never heard but Islam. Islam has never been misunderstood. Islam is the problem, but no one is stating the truth. No one is taking a hard look at the root of the terrorism, which is the brainwashing machine called Islam.
خصوص هؤلاء المثقفين الذين يدعون بأن الإسلام كرم المرأة، لا أرى فيهم إلا كمن يحاول أن يطارد أرنبين يركضان في اتجاهين مختلفين لن ينالا أيا منهما. فهم من جهة يحاولون أن يقنعوا القارئ أو المشاهد بأنهم ليبراليون ويناصرون حق المرأة وتقدميون، ومن جهة أخرى يحاولون أن يكسبوا رضا رجال الدين وأتباعهم بالادعاء أن الإسلام كرم المرأة. سيثبت لهم التاريخ بأنهم لم يكونوا مثقفين، ولكن كانوا ولم يزالوا مضللين. أعتقد في البلاد العربية بالذات لا تستطيع أن تقول لا توجد علاقة على الإطلاق بين وضع المرأة وبين الإسلام، بمعنى أنك لا تستطيع أن تنفي نفيا قاطعا وجود علاقة بين وضع المرأة وبين الإسلام، لأن الإسلام عقيدة شمولية تدخلت في التفاصيل الدقيقة لحياة الإنسان، اعتبارا من طريقة دخوله للمرحاض وحتى لا تؤاخذني طريقة مسحه لمؤخرته. باعتبار الإسلام دين عربي استطاع أن يطمس لدى الشعوب الناطقة باللغة العربية ثقافاتها وعاداتها وتقاليدها أكثر مما استطاع أن يفعل ذلك في البلاد الإسلامية غير الناطقة باللغة العربية. لذلك في الوطن العربي تحديداً وضع المرأة هو ناتج حتمي لما تكرسه التعاليم الإسلامية، ولكن أؤمن إيمانا مطلقا بأن العقيدة الإسلامية جاءت لتخدم محمد ولتشرع أهواءه وشهواته. ولنا في قول السيدة عائشة أرى الله يسارع لك في هواك،
ما أرى ربك إلا
يسارع لك في هواك. إذن هذه العبارة التي قالتها ببراءة وبصدق وبعفوية تجسد الغاية التي وضعت من أجلها العقيدة الإسلامية. لقد حلل الإسلام نكاح الرضيعة كي يبرر نكاح محمد لعائشة. لقد حرم الإسلام التبني لكي يبرر نكاح محمد لزوجة ابنه بالتبني، علما بأن ذلك الأمر كان مرفوضا في أخلاقيات العرب ما قبل الإسلام. لقد حلل الإسلام سبي النساء وهتك أعراضهن كي يبرر نكاح محمد للسيدة صفية بعد أن قتل زوجها وأباها وأخاها في نفس الليلة. هل تتصور بأن امرأة على سطح الأرض تشهد بأم عينيها مقتل زوجها وأبيها وأخيها وتعتنق دين قاتلهم في نفس اللحظة وتنام مع القاتل؟ هل يمكن عقل بشري أن يتقبل تلك القصة؟ عندما يعتبر الإسلام المرأة ناقصة عقل وأنا أدحض مصداقية هذا القول، في تلك الحالة الإسلام يهاجمني وأنا أرد هجومه. عندما يدعو الإسلام
إلى قتل الآخر الذي لا يؤمن به، وأنا أدحض مصداقية هذا القول، في تلك الحالة الإسلام يهاجمني وأنا أرد هجومه. أنا لا أهاجم، أنا أنتقد الإسلام، ولكن للأسف الشديد نحن ضحايا التربية الإسلامية لا نرى في النقد إلا هجوما. أنا دوما أركز على اللغة، لغة الإسلام. لغة الإسلام لغة سلبية ميتة، مشحونة بالعنف والغضب والحقد والعنصرية. الإنسان ناتج لغوي، وهو حصيلة ما يسمعه في حياته من لغة سلبية وإيجابية. فإن غلبت اللغة السلبية في حياته خرج إلى الحياة إنسانا سلبيا نزقا رافضا غير منتج. وإن غلبت اللغة الإيجابية خرج إلى الحياة إنسانا إيجابيا سعيدا منتجا. ولذلك لغة الإسلام السلبية فشلت، لم تنتج إنسانا يستطيع أن يتفاعل مع الحياة بعفوية وبإيجابية. أنجبت إنسانا سلبيا. لو ألقينا نظرة على المجتمعات الإسلامية نستطيع أن نرى ما استطاع أن يفعله هذا الرجل السلبي.
Mr. Sultan, again, thank you very much for joining us. First of all, how did you end up being an expert witness in this trial? How did Mr. Wilders ask you?
I really don't know what's the reason behind it. I was asked to come and I am more than happy to do it.
What are you going to tell the judge tomorrow?
Whatever they ask me, I'm gonna answer to the best of my knowledge.
Do you know, Mr.
I heard that they're accusing Mr. Wilders of hate speech, and for me it's shame. It is shame not to be able to speak out. You know, it is shame that Mr. Wilders has to go through this ordeal, you know, just because saying the truth might hurt someone's feeling, even if it is going to save lives. I'm very familiar with his message. I don't know much about him as, you know, I mean personal things, but I'm very familiar with his message and I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, what do you make of his message?
It is very good. It's very good for someone to stand up against the violent Islamic teachings and try to protect his country and his values, his freedoms, his way of life. I admire every man who does what Mr. Wilders is doing. You need to stand up and speak against it.
What do you make of this trial against him?
It is scary. It is a very scary message that you are threatened, that Islam might be able to take over. You accuse, I mean, you know, the Dutch court accused Mr. Wilders of hate speech, and I wonder why they don't call the Quran hate message. When you read the Quran, do you consider it love message? So why do you allow Muslims to teach their violent teachings to their young children while you don't allow people like Mr. Wilders to criticize those teachings? This is the question.
I don't know exactly what the judge will ask you tomorrow, but Mr. Wilders is well known here for saying that Islam is a backward culture, and he has said many times in public that as far as he's concerned, the Quran should be banned and people wearing headscarves should be taxed accordingly.
I 100% agree with him because he knows a big deal what the Quran is about. Once you know, you're gonna take a stand the same way he did. because I believe you as a Dutch won't allow someone to destroy your way of life. So my message to the Dutch people, get familiar with the Islamic teachings, read the Quran, and read the life of Muhammad. And you need to understand that Muhammad is the role model for every Muslim man on earth.
And why is that a bad thing?
Because, you know, because the way they behave against non-Muslims, they are brainwashed to believe, indoctrinated to believe that their mission on earth is to take over and to force non-Muslims to become Muslims.
We are united by one mission, which is to speak up against the cruelty of Islamic teachings and to work tirelessly to prevent applying Islamic shari'a here in the United States. Since we started our mission, we have been living an unbearable life, and I mean it. We are consumed by fear 24/7. I receive death threats on daily basis, telling me where I live exactly. Sometimes they tell me my phone number. They tell me my children's names. They tell me what school they go to. They describe how they're gonna behead me, how gonna rape my girls, how gonna cut my fingers into pieces. So as a mother, it's very hard to take it. But, you know, at least I'm living the life of my choice. I was mute for 30 years of my life in Syria, and enough is enough. I love America as very few do, and I want, from the bottom of my heart, to sacrifice my life to protect this country. Because if America was taken by Muslims, we have no place else to emigrate to. It seems to me sometimes it is much easier to make my point as a well-known writer in the Arab world than to penetrate the American mind. I can understand why. You are living by the American ethical code. You don't want to judge anybody based on their religious affiliation. But you need to understand that Islam is not a religion. Islam is a very dangerous political ideology. You know, I came from a Muslim family. I was raised to believe that we are on earth to fight for the sake of Allah and to kill or to be killed in this fight. So you are fighting someone who is willing to be killed. What else you can do to stop him? You need, Americans, people in the West need to know the truth about Islam. There is no such radical Islam and regular Islam or spiritual Islam. I had never heard of, growing up in Syria, radical Islam, militant Islam, Wahhabi Islam. There is only one Islam. You need to understand the truth about Islam, the way Muslims think in order to win the war over Islamic terrorism.
شخصيا لم أعاني، ولكنني شهدت الكثير من الجرائم بحق المرأة ارتكبت في محيطي العائلي وفي محيطي العملي. بحكم كوني طبيبة دخلت بيوتا لم تدخلها الشمس، وشهدت بأم عيني الكثير من الجرائم التي ارتكبت بحق المرأة تحت سطوة التعاليم الإسلامية. في محيطي العائلي ابنة أختي أجبرت على الزواج من ابنة عمتها وهي على أبعد تقدير في 12 من عمرها، وكان هو فوق 40. عاشت معه جحيما لا يطاق، وعندما أحست بأنه لا مهرب لها من ذلك الجحيم انتحرت، حرقت، أولعت النار في نفسها وتحولت في دقائق إلى رماد تاركة 4 أطفال ورائها.
Islam is not up to me, is not up to any Muslim man or woman. Islam is exactly what the Prophet Muhammad did and said. In order to understand Islam, you have to read the biography of Muhammad. It is very traumatizing. It is very shocking. He married his second wife when she was 6 years old. He was over 50. I just came back from France. I debated with a Muslim Pakistani woman. She was the Minister of Women in Pakistan. When I told this fact to my audience, she turned to me and she said, "It is a big lie." She was 9, not 6. It sounds like when a policeman stops you because you're driving over 100 miles per hour and you turn to him and say, "It is a big lie. I was driving 90 miles per hour, not 100 miles. She was 9, not 6. He married his second wife. She was his daughter-in-law. His son was adopted, and at that time it wasn't accepted by the pre-Islamic Arabic culture. So he turned to his followers and he said, "I was told by God that adoption is forbidden. And adoption, believe it or not, has been forbidden in the Islamic culture, just to justify his marriage of his daughter-in-law." His third wife was Safiya. She was a Jewish woman. It was well documented, well written in our school book, that he attacked her tribe. He killed her father, her brother, and her husband. At the same day he slept with her. That's what I call Islam. You need to know, you need to understand that Islam is the problem. I am sick and tired of people here in the West asking me to soften my message. I am sick and tired of people asking me, "Are you trying to change 1.3 billion people?" Yes, I am trying. Yes, I am. It is not a matter of I am trying. I will change him. I want you to know that the very first value I learned when I came to this great country, that you can do the impossible if you truly believe in yourself. I not only believe in myself, I believe in many million Muslim women like Nooni Darwish and Ayaan Ali. And we are working hand in hand to change 1.3 billion Muslims. They have to realize that they have only two choices: to change or to be crushed. Please, please don't let your civilized way of thinking interfere with your defending your great country. Please, please defend your values. Please defend your freedoms. Defend the heaven you are living in. Don't take anything for granted. I don't. I enjoy every single moment of my American life. Just walking down the street by myself without being accused of being a whore is a bliss for me. Just chatting with my next door male neighbor without being accused of committing adultery is a bliss for me. Having a cup of coffee at Starbucks by myself is a bliss. Please, please don't take anything for granted. Please defend this beautiful country. My dream is to see my country, Syria, as free as America, not the other way around.
And believe me, the Islamic values don't match with the Western value. They're not for freedom. You have to follow strictly what Islamic Sharia asks you to do, especially when it comes to women. I don't know if Dutch women will accept to live the life or to be treated the way Muslim women are treated under Islamic Sharia. They're not familiar with Islamic Sharia, that's why they don't stand up against it. But once you educate the public about it, then many more like Wilders will speak out.
You have said many times that you are fighting Islam. Do you see Wilders as in that same group?
Yes, he is. Yes, we're not fighting Muslims. We're not against Muslims. Even Mr. Wilders has said that many times. We have to distinguish between Islam and Muslim. We're not against Muslims, but we're totally against Islam, because it is a very hateful political ideology which doesn't match the Western laws and the Western way of life.
A large group of the Dutch population does not agree with you, does not see it that way. What don't they understand about Islam?
Anything. They don't understand anything about Islam. How many Islamic texts have been translated to Dutch so far? So how they know? There are few, I don't know if the situation in Holland the same as it is in the United States. There are few books which are sugar-coated and was distributed by the Saudis. And those books don't have the truth about Islam. They're very sugar-coated, especially the translation of the Quran, because in Islam it is forbidden to translate the Quran. If you take a look at the translation of the Quran in English, you will see the meaning of our holy book. It is not the literal translation. It's not word for word. And it's very much sugar-coated. So you need to translate in very honest way the Islamic text from its original Arabic text to Dutch and have people read it and then make their judgment.
So you're saying the Dutch in general are those who say that Islam is not a hateful religion, or at least, you say they misunderstand.
Of course they do.
They
don't understand the whole idea about Islam. I can tell you, to be a true Muslim, you have to believe in Islam as a religion and as a state. So it is impossible for someone to be a true Muslim and a true American at the same time, because Muslims always look to live under Islamic Sharia, not under American Constitution. I am one of them. Trust me. I know him. I was very involved with my Muslim community for the first 10 years here in the United States. And I heard them a million times saying that we are here to eventually replace the American Constitution with Islamic Sharia. And believe me, their concept of time is different than your concept. They're well trained to be patient. If not this year, after 100 years. If not after 100, after 1 million, we will take over. This is their mentality. This is their concept of religion. Religion is a state for them. Any definition of religion you will come up with, it will exclude state.
المرأة بأنها ناقصة عقل ليس تكريما لها. اعتبار المرأة مما ملكت اليمين ليس تكريما لها. فالإنسان ذكرا كان أم أنثى هو ملك لخالقه، ولا يحق لإنسان أن يمتلك إنسانا آخر. استعباد المرأة سقط بإنسانيتها إلى ما دون مستوى الحيوان. ناهيك عن قوانين التوريث والشهادة في المحاكم وضرب الزوجة إذا رفضت الذهاب مع زوجها إلى الفراش وجرائم الشرف. محمد قال في أحد أحاديثه: ثلاثة تفسد الصلاة: المرأة، الكلب الأسود والحمار. هل يفكرون قليلا؟ هل يعرفون بأن الله اختار جسد المرأة ليكون المكان الذي يمارس فيه أعلى درجات إبداعه، ألا وهي الخلق؟ أليس من الأخلاق بمكان أن نمنح ذلك الجسد نوعا من القدسية بدلا من أن نوصمه بالنجاسة؟
I am not against Muslims. I dream of a day that my country will become a free country like Holland. I don't want to see Holland or any other Western country to become a country like Syria, oppressive and oppressed country like Syria. This is my dream. I'm doing it for the sake of Muslims, especially Muslim women. They are suffering for 1400 years. They have never been challenged or forced to take a deep look into their teachings and to reform these teachings. We need to do it.
You became a YouTube hit when you appeared on Al Jazeera in 2006, and you were saying, I think that was the key thing in that speech, that we are not, you were discussing Samuel Huntington's book, a clash of civilization. You saw another clash. What kind of clash did you see?
Between civilization and backwardness. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. The way Islam treats women and treats non-Muslim is not civilized, and they need to be stopped for the sake of every country on earth. They need to be stopped. This is my message.
Spreading that message has come with a personal price for you.
Of course, I am paying a very high price. I receive death threat on daily basis. You know, it has become a way of life. I told you my life will never be the same. But you know, as I said before, I feel like I am equipped to do it. So the question, why not? Especially I am living in a free country, and I am protected by the law to say what I am saying.